All right, everybody, this will be warning to all politicians. I'm running for president 2024, part 90. So, been another police shooting, and this one up in Wisconsin. I'm sure everybody's seen it. Like many of the other ones, the news media isn't presenting all the facts. And they're calling the riots going on and the violence going on protests instead of calling them what they are, riots. And you have people like LeBron James with their usual shtick about how terrified black people are of the police, etc. Like instead of talking about the elephant in the room and addressing the fact that some people, not just black people, but every color, have such disrespect and hate for the police, and who see the police in every situation as an enemy. And this causes, and then there's some, they say this guy had a warrant, etc. So that could have caused his behavior. But in either way, no one's talking about the individual's responsibility in the matter. It's always, look what the cops have done. Why don't you call out the people who are resisting arrest and doing ignorant things that put the police in a position where they have to act? This guy kept going for his car, very 1,000% positive the police were telling him to stop. And he kept going for his car. Even when the officer grabbed him, he kept going into his car. Now, I don't care what color you are. An officer is not going to let you, especially if you're acting hostile and angry, go into a vehicle where you can grab a gun and come out shooting. It's not the officer's job, anywhere in their job description, to allow themselves for their lives to be put in jeopardy, or anybody else's lives to be put in jeopardy. Everyone's always, why couldn't they done this, something different? The question you ought to be asking is, why couldn't the person they were dealing with have done something different? That's the question you need to ask. Why couldn't he listen to the police? Why wouldn't he listen to the police? No one's putting themselves in the shoes of the officers who have to respond to these calls. They didn't ask to be there. They didn't ask this guy or those other people, whatever reason they were there for, they didn't ask for all that crap to be going on and to be called to the situation. See, this gets down to the number one thing, your behavior. The behavior of people in this country. Now, since the media, no one's putting any, background or any what was going on beforehand as to why the police were there. Whether it's domestic situations or an actual crime being committed, whatever it is, the cops didn't ask to be there. They were called there because there was something going on, because people can't act like adults, like grown-up human beings. And if this is more prevalent in one section of society than the other, then that's what you got to address. If you can't get through life with so much drama, this and that and everything, and always having the cops be there, whether you live in the inner city or some, trailer park in the country somewhere, don't matter what color you are or where you're from. If you can't get through life without a bunch of horse shit that brings the police to your location, whose fault is it? It's the cops? It's not the cops' fault. Now, what were those officers supposed to do? Well, they could have tackled him. They could have done this. In those types of situations, that's not what you want to happen. You know, it's not a boxing match. It's not a wrestling match. You know, the cops are not there to prove how tough they are. I've heard people say, oh, why cops need guns anyway? Why can't they man up, be a man, this and that? Because that's not their duty. They're not there to prove to you they can whoop your ass. They'd rather not have any kind of violence. They'd rather have people be sane and listen to them and do what the officer tells them to do. But you see it all the time in his videos. The cops show up somewhere, all of a sudden there's a crowd, people screaming and yelling, moving towards them, getting close to what's going on. You're causing the problem. You are the ones causing the fucking problem. But you got people like LeBron James and these other people, oh, you know, this is why black people are scared and all this. Instead of talking about the real fucking problem. Behavior. That's the real fucking problem. The cops didn't ask to be there. It's your behavior. Go look in the friggin' mirror. Now, the parents of this guy, I can understand their grief. Really can. Especially the mothers. And they show pictures of this guy like he was some sort of angel. Just like the kid in Ferguson. Let's make the victim look like they were number one, you know, good guy, good person, this and that, and let's demonize the police. In every single one of these stories, every single one of them. That's the way the news media presents it, and you're feeding the problem. Instead of telling the truth and putting the facts out there and explaining what is going on and how it can be avoided, you just keep adding fuel to the fire. That's all you're doing. And you're all responsible. Whether it's celebrities like LeBron James, Oprah Winfrey, the news anchors, you're all responsible. Because you're condoning the behavior of people to ignore the police, to follow their instructions, and to do something stupid and dare the police to have to do something in these situations. You encourage behavior that is going to get somebody hurt or killed. Instead of pointing out the facts, hey, the cops didn't ask to be there. What the hell was going on that they had to be called there to begin with? 2, why didn't you listen to them when they got there? Why didn't you obey their commands? And all you people who gather around and all the other shit, screaming at the cops and all this kind of crap, mind your own freaking business and get back. Let the cop do his, let's make it more stressful for the officer so he not only has to worry about the person he's dealing with, but he's got to worry about a crowd that's gathered around him, assaulting him. Let's put more stress on the officer so he can't think straight. Or her. People might not like what I'm saying, but I'm telling you the truth. It is your friggin' behavior. If you have an interaction with an officer and you are hostile from the fucking get-go, it's your behavior. You need to take self-responsibility. Accountability. And if you've got a warrant and the cops come and you don't want to go to jail, you know, you're not going to make it better by resisting. You don't want to go to jail, this and that. And you're not going to make it better by resisting. Do you understand that? Is that too hard? Guess what? Maybe you should have went to your court date or whatever. Playing this freaking game. You know, what do you want? No, it's, you know, civil rights. Had protests and demonstrations and marches to get the rights to vote, to get, you know, the stop the discrimination in restaurants and this and not serving black people and everything like that. So what's this now? You want an extra right? An extra right not to have to obey the police? Doesn't matter if that was a white guy up there in Wisconsin going for his car and he was acting hostile and they knew he was wanted and he had a weapons charge. He'd have got shot too. Let's cut the bullshit. Can we all just cut the bullshit and maybe that'll help solve the problem? How much more of this do we have to go through? The only message you're sending out there is you don't have to listen to the police. The police are racist. You don't have to listen to them. And you're going to cause more and more problems like this. I don't have the civil right not to listen to the police. But that seems to be where this is all going. So we don't have to listen to the police. We'll just call it a fight against racism. Bullshit. Stop demonizing the police, news media. Put everything up on the table. Let everybody see all the information. Because you see all that crap going on up there in Washington or Wisconsin? That's because you did not put all the facts out. It's because you did not put people out there who say, you got to listen to the cops. This man should have listened to the police. If he had listened to the police, he would not have gotten shot. But no one wants to say anything about listening to the cops. No one wants to point those facts out. If you would just listen to the police, follow their orders, no one would get shot, no one would get tased, no one would get beat up, nothing would happen. They didn't ask to be there. They are responding to a situation. There is absolutely no freaking way. It doesn't matter what color you are, that you can be in a situation, the cops show up, they tell you to stop, and you keep walking and going to your car, and they're not showing what happened beforehand. If there was a confrontation with them, you know, where he resisted or whatever, they're not showing any of that. They're not playing, you know, any of the audio, what he was saying to them, anything. Just, oh, look. This guy's getting in his car and is shot by cops. He could have had a gun in there. He made the choice not to listen to the police. Do you understand that? How many times do we have to play this game that there's no consequences for anybody's actions? He made the choice not to listen to the officer. There's no report if he was drunk or high on drugs and all this. And look, if you're out there doing that shit, chances are you're not going to be thinking too clearly and you're not going to listen to the police. So let's address all the problems that and all the behavior that leads to these types of things, and not just dump it all in the laps of the cops. Everyone's, nobody has any responsibility for this except the police. Bullshit. Bullshit. And these celebrities and the news media and everything that just keep presenting everything the way they are, you're just encouraging bad behavior. You're encouraging behavior that is going to get more people hurt, more people killed, cause more riots, and you all ought to be ashamed of yourselves. You all ought to be ashamed of yourselves. No one wants to see anyone get shot, but damn it, if you cause a situation and you bring the police there and you refuse to cooperate with them, and then you do something that they can deem as being a threat to them or the people around, well, you played your hand then, haven't you? You played your hand, you left them no choice. Oh, they could have done this, It don't work that way. It does not work that way. I dare you to go out and do the job the cop is doing and deal with the type of people they're dealing with. Go deal with a bunch of belligerent assholes that might kill you if they get a chance to. Go deal with them. You'd have shot them too. And you know it. So let's stop all the phony baloney bullshit. How much more of this are you going to use for your ratings and for your political agendas and this and that? Instead of putting your foot down and telling people, look, if your behavior brings the police to you and you don't listen to the officer, you have accountability for it, not just the cops. Is this the agenda LeBron James and others want to? Oh, we don't have to be accountable to the police. We don't have to be accountable for our actions. That's why let's get rid of the police so we can go do whatever the hell we want and not have accountability to anybody. Well, it ain't going to happen, Jack. Good luck with that. You want extra civil rights now where you're not accountable for anything? Screw you. Screw you, LeBron James, and people like you. Screw you, Colin Kaepernick, and all the people like you. You're a bunch of friggin' morons. A bunch of friggin' morons. You chase a ball for a living. You're a moron. A moron with money. And all you're doing is encouraging bad behavior that's going to get more people hurt and killed while you flap your gums and want to pretend this is all about racist America and etc. and blah, 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 and all that kind of crap. It's not. It is about people who want to live off the hook, do whatever they want to do, have bad behavior, have the police called, and then not have to answer to the cops. Don't want to answer to anybody. I feel sorry for them parents. Their son got shot and everything. But at a certain point, you got to wonder, how did they raise their son? To respect the police? To listen to the police? Was he in gangs growing up? Let's get all the cards on the table. It's just like with the George Floyd thing. Oh, his family, he was just a nice guy. This and that. And then you find out, oh no, guess what? He did home invasions. Guess what? He had a long storied criminal record and went to prison. Guess what? He was high on fentanyl and methamphetamine, passing phony bills, probably so he could give real money to buy more drugs. And for all we know, he had COVID too. That's why he couldn't breathe. And who presents all the stuff to the public? Well, now you got Twitter and all this other crap too, and people just putting up whatever they want to make it look bad for whoever they want to, instead of putting the truth out there. You're all going to be held responsible. You understand? You're not going to get away with it. You are not going to get away with causing this much damage to racial relations in this country and to law enforcement and everything else. By perverting the truth in these stories and not presenting all the facts and encouraging violent behavior from rioters, not protesters. You can call them protesters all you want to. These are riots. And more criminal behavior because you encourage it. Where are all the politicians and the civic leaders saying, hey, this is enough. Enough is enough. You're not going to get your way. You still have to listen to the police. And if you're doing things that draw their attention to you, whose fault is it? How many more cities in America have to go through this? And you're encouraging it. Next black guy gets pulled over, he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. I ain't listening to these motherfuckers. And he's going to get shot. You're encouraging it. Believe in civil rights, but I don't believe in, you're going to have it to where you can live beyond the law and above the law. Don't have to answer to the police. Like it's some sort of civil right. Nobody else gets to do that. You're not going to get to do that either. All right, wish you all the best out there. Be careful, and we'll catch you on the next one. God bless. Adios.